And Haley Dandurand is now waiting to be sentenced. A judge is scheduled to hand down her punishment November 15th. Today, an Oahu jury recommended she spend life in prison with the possibility of parole. She's been convicted for the 2017 murder of Thelma Boinville on Oahu's North Shore and the kidnapping of Boinville's daughter.
Now joining us live in studio is attorney Megan Cow to talk about the Dandurand decision. So the jury recommended she have a chance for parole. Were you surprised that they decided that?
No, I saw mom testify, I saw grandma testify. You know, they said that she had redeeming qualities. She is not a career criminal. She's never been arrested or convicted before. And when we look to punish someone for life without the possibility of parole, we're really looking at career criminals.
So that emotional testimony from her mom and grandmother was pretty effective.
It was definitely effective.
She also was claiming during the trial that she was under duress because of her then boyfriend, Stephen Brown. How much of a factor was that?
You know, it was a factor. The jury didn't believe her, and so it was a factor in finding her guilty, but it probably was a factor in considering whether they should commit this girl to prison for the rest of her life without parole. So they probably did consider the fact that she was claiming that she was in this abusive relationship, and it probably justified them in saying, let's give her parole.
So how many years will she have to now serve before she's eligible for parole?
It'll depend. Within 3 months of her sentencing date, she will go in front of the Hawaii Paroling Authority. That authority will decide how many years she needs to spend before she may ask for parole.
Now, while we have you here, we also want to ask you about the Eric Thompson murder case. Right now, the jury is still deliberating. What's your gut feeling about that? Are they going to find him guilty or innocent?
I really can't say. You know, I've done over 50 jury trials, and you never know how a jury is going to come out.
So what do you think it's going to depend upon?
Everything's going to depend upon whether the jury believed Eric Thompson or not. If he was credible, they're going to find him not guilty. If he was not credible, they're going to find him guilty.
Well, right now his alibi is that he was dumping some bricks in Waimanalo the night of the murder. But there's been some flaws in that alibi as well.
There have been. So what the government's going to argue is, we have your DNA on that white hat. You are that person in the video. You have motive, and therefore you are the person. The defense is going to argue that wasn't my DNA on the hat. They had an expert witness come in to say that's not Eric Thompson's DNA. He's also going to say, I was not in the area. I was dumping these bricks. I was not there. And so if the jury really believes Eric Thompson, they will find him not guilty.
Yeah. And one question I had about this was, why didn't the wife, Joyce, ever appear in court?
It's Mr. Thompson's right to spousal privilege. He has an absolute right to force his wife not to testify, or if he wants to, ask her to testify. You don't ever have to testify against your spouse. So
the jury began deliberating, I guess, yesterday? How long do you think it'll go on before they come up with a decision?
You know, it might be a while. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a couple days. They've got a lot to look over. They've got a lot of credibility issues on both sides, the prosecution and the defense. So maybe mid next week.
Okay. Megan Cow, thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll be back with more news right after this.